Hi, I'm Martin McGrath from Financial Edge Group, and today I want to talk to you about the Royal Commission, what it is and what's involved, and a few key things that I've picked up along the way. The Royal Commission was a review by the government basically into the banking and financial services industry. It's been going on for the last couple of years. You might have seen some stuff come out in the news, not so good stuff, bad stuff, what the banks have been doing, what super funds have been doing, all that kind of stuff. The report's been handed down the last few weeks, which includes their 76 recommendations about changes they want to make. In the space that I work in, there's kind of a few key things that I think are relevant that are certainly going to impact a lot of financial advisors and some accountants, as well as a few other financial professionals. And one of those, which I'll touch on initially, is mortgage brokers. There's a big announcement around mortgage brokers and how they get paid from the banks to cover the time that they help you with a loan. The recommendation is that they're going to take that away. Mortgage brokers won't get paid from the banks. What that will mean is that they'll either work for free, which won't happen, or the consumer will have to pay. So rather than you going to a mortgage broker and then looking at the comparison of 20 different loans and figuring out what's the best for you and recommending and helping you get that loan in place, possibly saving you thousands and thousands of dollars in interest, and then them being paid from the bank for that, they're going to have to say, well, hey, if you want us to do all that work, we're going to have to charge you a fee, whether that's $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 to cover all our time and expertise and stuff like that. What I think personally is I think that's a bad thing, because I think what it's going to mean is that people aren't really going to want to pay that fee because they'll see it's money that's being paid, it's not being saved. And what will happen is people will then do a quick search online, they'll probably walk into the bank and the bank will say, oh, we'll give you that loan, we won't charge you that fee. So it's really going to take the competition away and out of that space for mortgage brokers. It's not a space that I'm in, but it's certainly a space I know a fair bit about. And as a consumer, I think mortgage brokers do a really good job in helping that space. So none of this stuff's been legislated or in place yet, but it's certainly been announced that this is the kind of stuff that they want to make changes about. And there's 16,000 mortgage brokers in Australia, and it's going to have a massive impact in their space. In terms of the space that I work in and what's relevant to the way that Financial Edge Group does stuff, there's nothing that changes what we do on a day-to-day basis, which is good. And I didn't think there was going to be because of the way that my business has been set up. But there's 3 announcements that are relevant to the area that I want to touch on. One of those is around the commissions. Like with mortgage brokers, a lot of financial planners historically, and even plenty still today, get paid from a product. That means that they'll help you get your life insurance product and they'll get paid from that. They'll help you set up a certain super fund product and they'll get paid from that. They'll help you set up a certain investment and they'll get paid from that based on a percentage of how much money you put in. And that's what's called a commission structure. There's announcements that basically they want to move away from that space, or the government doesn't think that that's the right way to do business. And that's going to have a massive impact on the advisors that work in that space. For me, my business has kind of been based on what's called a fee-for-service model, which is I get paid from my clients, I get paid from you, rather than getting paid from a product provider. What I think that allows me to do is kind of separate that I'm not incentivized by any of their systems or rewards, but basically I get paid by you as the client to give you the advice that I think is best. And that's the fee-for-service model. And I think it's the background I've come from, being a chartered accountant and being a financial planner, to kind of go, well, I'm giving you advice, I should get paid for my advice, and then we find the products that fit in that space. The second point is around what's called opt-in. And most people probably don't know this, but advisors kind of know this, that historically, before commissions were around and when they kind of changed a little bit, an advisor used to have to send a statement to a client to say, hey, these are your fees you're paying me, do you want to keep renewing these? And what they're doing is they're moving that to it's got to happen every year. And if you're a client working with at the moment, you'll go, that's nothing different, why it's changed there. Because the way we do it is we've always done it every year. Every year I sit down with my clients and say, hey, this is how much you paid me last year and this is what I did for that. What do we want to do this year? Do you need the same level of help? Do you need more help? Or do you need less help? And we'll figure out, okay, based on that, this is the fee I think it's going to be. Let's pay that monthly. And basically that's agreed to every year. And so what it means is that work actually gets done every year and a fee gets paid every year, and we sit down and agree to that once a year. often with a lot of other advisors, and this is the change that's happening, is that might be agreed to once and it just keeps going until someone changes it or contacts it. But basically now that's got agreed to every year. The third main thing, or the theme of all this, which I really picked up, was there was a lot of discussion about products and advice. And in the financial planning space, I think historically people see financial planners as, they'll help me with a product, they'll go get this thing set up for me, and that's what they'll help me do. Again, I think as the background I've had as a professional and a technician, I suppose being an accountant as well as being a financial planner, my basis of advice is always around the advice beat, the advice part, not the product part, which is what's the best strategies we should be looking at, what are your goals, where are we going, do we need to clear debt, do we need to put some extra money into super. All that strategy and advice stuff, that's the foundation. We need to get all that stuff right before we're worrying about which actual product's going to fit in to help us do that. And often people find when they start working with me, I won't even discuss the products until the second or the third meeting because it's not the relevant. We need to get that foundation stuff sorted, because that's the bit that's actually going to help you get the benefit in the long run, rather than this flashy product that might do that or that product that might do that. So it's really, I think the Royal Commission's trying to separate that product piece and the advice piece. So if you're working with a professional at the moment and you're not sure you're getting that separation, I'd be certainly asking about that. In terms of the way we do things, as you see, there's not much change that we're going to have to make in this space, which is good. What it means is it allows me to keep doing good things for clients than worrying about making changes to keep up with government changes. Hopefully that helps a little bit about what the Royal Commission is, what are some of the changes they're making, how it applies to the financial services industry, how it applies to my business, and bits and pieces like that. If you've got any other thoughts or questions around what you've heard, feel free to pop them down below and I'll jump back in and answer them as best I can.